Welcome back to In the Ring with Termite and Mr. S. Mr. S, we've got a good one today.
We do. We got Ginny Fuchs with us today. And
Ginny,
you know
how
her
you
a lot
doing?
better than I do on the boxing side of things.
I do. I know her very well. I knew when she actually got started, and I knew that she was a champ in the making. And she was a champ in the making. Now she's about to be a champ. That's my prediction. I'm making that prediction here on In the Ring that she will be a world champion.
All right. No pressure.
So, Ginny, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I just had my third professional fight about a month ago in New Orleans on a big hard matchroom card. Looking to fight in September, and like you said, by the end of the year, be a world champion.
Oh, that's going to be so awesome. I have seen her come up, and she's always been incredible. She's got incredible training ethics or work ethics, and I think that's a lot of why you're where you're at is your work ethics.
Oh, for sure. I got a great team, too. I got to give them a lot of credit for it.
Tell us about your training and tell us about your team.
So I train with Durin Richard, who was Juan Diaz's main trainer. And then my strength coach is Evans Tobler, and he also trains Regis Progra, who is was a two-time world champ. He fought on the card in New Orleans with me. And my cut man is Aaron Navarro, who's worked with many, many boxers, great cut man. And I've had this team for about, I think, I got them all together, I think, around 2014, 15-ish. So we've been working a long time together. And this is the team that got me over that hump to become the #1 female flyweight in the nation after winning the 2016 Olympic trials. And keeping that #1 spot all the way till I competed for the Tokyo Olympics. And now I'm starting my pro career with them, and I'm 3-0 with one knockout.
Well,
That's amazing.
I think you have an incredible team. Every person that you named, I know them, and they're all incredible, and they're almost the perfect team.
Yeah.
And so my hat's off to them, and I tell you what, you got to see her trained.
Yeah, we'll have to watch some of the YouTube videos. We'll maybe put some links in there when we post this.
Okay.
So, because, the viewers are looking at you, dainty, pretty young lady. Now we want them to see the fire side come out you on some of these fights. How did you get involved in boxing? Like, where did this start? It's not, like you said, it's not very common.
Yeah.
So what kind of fire got lit under you to get into starting this?
So I started kind of late in the game. I went to LSU, Louisiana State University, as a walk-on the cross-country and track team. Then the end of my freshman year, I was involved in a prank that involved me breaking down a door in the West Campus apartments where the athletes lived. Someone bet me that $100 I couldn't do it. This was my friend's door, and we took his Xbox and hid it so to make it look like someone broke in and stole his Xbox. So when he came back, he ran out of the room, ended up calling the LSU police. They ended up coming over. I told them the whole story, but I ended up getting into trouble for that, which got me kicked off the cross-country and track team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the head coach said, call me next season, and I'll decide if I want to let you back on. So I kind of had that hopes. And so I enjoyed college for about a year. In the meantime, I had met a professional boxer that was really big in Baton Rouge. Everybody in Baton Rouge knew who he was. He was, his career was going up. So I got to watch him train during this time. So when the season began for cross country, and the coach decided he wasn't going to let me back on. So I kind of was hopeless with starting my running career again, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to start boxing. I really enjoyed watching him train, and I think I'd be really good at it. And I've done all sports. I've done all sports you can think of: water skiing, volleyball, basketball, softball, soccer. Boxing is something I've never tried, and I've always kind of wanted to. And I've never really had the opportunity, never even stepped in a boxing gym until I met this guy. So I told him, I think I want to start training and actually competing. So he took me to where he started as an amateur. This is in Baton Rouge. And the first day there, like Termite said, I was really focused and dedicated to learning it and working hard. And the coach there, he said, I see a lot of potential in you. I'd love to train you to fight. I think you can go far. And I immediately was like, yes, let's do it. And then I never, never left the gym. I was just kept
Never looked
coming
back.
back every day. And I got really, I was dedicated. I spent so much energy and time into it. And because, this is what I wanted to do. I really wanted to be a world champ. And I was winning in Louisiana fight after fight. I went to my first national tournament in 2010, which was the Women's National Golden Gloves. And that's where they announced that they were going to add female boxing to the Olympics for the 2012 London Games. So I look at my coach and I go, let's do it. He goes, let's do it. And so
Goal
from
set.
then on, I started training for the Olympics.
So the goal was set in your mind. You said, all right, I'm going for this.
I'm going for it. Mm-hmm.
I like the goal setting. To me, that's always something we try to inspire our listeners. Set a goal.
Yeah.
Make it hard to get.
Yeah, exactly. And I told him, I looked at him like, let's do it. And we did it. Like, I wasn't like, maybe, or say, or, we're going to do it. And then a couple of weeks later,
Maybe, we'll see.
I was like, no,
Let's
I was
try.
all in. Once I said I'm going to do it, I was all in.
And that was a 2-year kind of path? Is that what
So
get
that
the
was,
timeline right?
that was in 2010. And so I graduated from LSU in 2011 with a Bachelor's of Science in Kinesiology.
She's smart, too.
I see that.
Thank you, Termite. Ended up moving back to Houston because I couldn't find any more fights in Louisiana, and I knew I could get, there's competition here in Texas, and there's good trainers, and obviously I'm from Houston, this is my home. So I decided to move back. And then that's where I kind of met Termite for the first time. I was training with Rudy and Roy at their gym, and then we went to Fighter Nation. And so I was training there for a long time before I went with Durin.
Yeah. This one she's about Durin. He's a great trainer. He's had a background. Well, he was a boxer himself, but he come from good blood, and literally.
Yeah.
And he's had some of the best trainers surrounding him since he was a kid. And then he was put into it. And so I think he's a great trainer. I have a lot of respect for him. Love him to death. I've known him since he was young. But you know what I'm impressed is that you've turned something that was a mess up when you busted the door,
Got in trouble. Ruined your track and field career. Yeah.
You could have went the other way.
Right.
You could have got kicked out and said, screw them all. And
Life's not fair. One of those deals.
But you didn't. You turned your pain into gain. You turn your mess up into success. And that's what this show is about.
Right.
It's taking our bad times and making them good. And I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, that mistake was a blessing in disguise. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me because I wouldn't be here today. And it's been an incredible, exciting, thrilling journey turning to boxing.
Yeah. It wasn't just a blessing. You made it a blessing. It's kind of how you allowed it to be.
Right.
Didn't you throw a pity party and say, all right, life's not fair. I'm going to go, I don't know, waste my life away.
Right.
Which a lot of people do, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right.
So I got to ask you this. Being young and pretty and, away from home, what kept you from getting into all the partying? Because a lot of our people, they got into partying and they got into a life, that kind of life.
Yeah.
What kept you out of that?
Well, my boxing, my athletics. Like, I've been in athletics all my life. Yeah. That's why when I got kicked out, it was weird that I wasn't competing and I wasn't doing anything. And like I said, I did enjoy college for almost a full year and did a little bit of partying, not going to lie. And that's why when I found boxing, I was like, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to get back on the team. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to waste any time. I really like this boxing thing. I really think I can be good at it. Another thing that kind of motivated me was that women's boxing wasn't big and it wasn't, we were kind of not looked at as equals as the men. Yeah. Like, oh, I don't know if girls can box. And that kind of made me want to prove to people out there,
challenge.
Challenge. Yeah, women are just as tough and strong as the men and can perform and have the skill in the ring just like the men. So that kind of pushed me, too, because there was no women in the gym when I started in Baton Rouge. And then when I came to Houston, there was a couple. I was like, okay. And now the women's boxing has improved a whole lot, and it's come a long way, which is really exciting.
It has.
You've paved the way in a lot of ways.
Right.
You can kind of, take credit for that. Sounds like, someone had to.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking the same thing. You've helped pave the way for the girls to come behind you. And they have no reason to say they can't do it, not to try. I mean, you've just given every reason in the world to do it, to try, whatever it is they want to in life. You know, I've got, between me and my wife, I've got 7 daughters and a son. You know that. And my girls, I tell them they can do anything they want to in life. He's got 4 girls.
I'm the same. And I don't have a son, so I'm all about some girl power. I want my girls to know whatever you want to do, you can do it.
Right,
and I just want to instill that in them. So it's good to see role models that are doing, they're not just talking about it, you're doing it.
Right.
So what is a day like in your life right now?
So
when you're in training?
So when I'm in training, I either will do my strength conditioning or sparring in the morning, just depending on what day. So strength and conditioning usually takes like an hour and a half. My boxing training with sparring, and after I spar, I'll hit the bag and then speed bag and do my abs and push-ups. That'll take like 2 hours, maybe a little over 2 hours. Then I'd go get something to eat after that, and then I really, because my commute in Houston, I live in Seabrook, and my gym is like in the inner city. So I kind of like just get it all done. So I go eat, and then I'll go either to the boxing gym or, again, strength training, depending on the day. And then I'll get home, relax a little bit, and then I'll go run. I don't run every day, just depends on, my coaches like me to run at least like 4 or 5 times a day just to keep, you were a boxer, just to keep that running in. And that's pretty much, 5 days a week. And on Sunday I usually take off unless I have to make weight and my weight's a little high, then I'll run on Sundays. But it'll be like a light run. And then I'll try to recover it any way I can. I have a great physio guy that takes care of me. And anytime my body's just feeling like it needs some help, I go to him as much as I can. I really am starting to incorporate doing yoga, especially as I'm getting older. You need to stretch more. How
old are you?
I'm 35 now.
Okay, and I did this for a reason. Women, y'all are powerful. I mean, she's done this 35 years old.
Yeah, I started at 21.
And started at 21, and before you retire, you will be a champion.
Yes, I will.
And I just love it. I mean, a lot of people think that they're gone, when they hit their 30s. You're just starting.
Yeah, no, and that's another thing. I'm turning 30, or I'm turning pro at 35, and I don't feel like people there's some promoter out there like, oh, you're 35. Do you think you're going to be able to get to that world title stage, or do you think the years are going to add up to you? And I'm like, honestly, I feel like I'm 25 still. I don't feel any different. The only thing I feel different is with my experience and all the training I've gone
is positives.
The
differences are positive.
Yeah, I feel like the best I am than I've ever been. Like I'm at my peak, and I think I can keep this peak for a while. So, of course, I'm on the fast track because I kind of came into the game, in the professional game, a little later than I would have liked to, because I wanted to go for Tokyo. So that's why I'm saying I've only had 3 fights, but I'm ready for a world title fight by the end of the year. Yeah. With my experience, I know I can.
Who's champion in your weight?
Well, so flyweight, I'm doing flyweight and super flyweight. So flyweight is Marlene.
Yeah.
She just won the WO belt. Yeah. I guess that was 2 weeks ago, and I'd like to fight her at the end of the year. Yeah. For the IBF belt. So, because she has 3, and the IBF belt is vacant right now. Right. So I'm trying to get a hold of the president so he can make that fight happen by the end of the year. So when I win, then I'll become undisputed champ with 1 fight. So that's my plan.
You got a vision.
I love it.
Got a vision.
I love it. I love the fact that she sets a goal and she does it. She gets a vision or a picture in your mind, and you go after it. And, women, men, I mean, there's a living example of what you can do when you really put your mind to it. And, age is a factor in all things, but we make it a bigger thing than what it really is.
Exactly. I think that it's just a number, and you're getting older, but that doesn't mean much. As long as you're like I said, I put my mind to it, and I manifest it, and I just keep working hard, take care of my body,
Yeah.
and I'll be fine.
Take care of your
That's the
body. I
thing.
think that's a big one.
Yeah, yeah. As long as
It's
I take
not,
care
it
of my
doesn't
body.
just happen.
Yeah.
You have to, work at it. Be
Yeah.
intentional.
Yeah.
Speaking of work, finish telling me what a day work is.
Okay,
with
so,
you.
well, and I also, because, I'm pro, when I was on the USA boxing team, I would get a monthly stipend, and I actually lived at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, and they paid me to live there, and, food and room was free. So that was a, great opportunity to have, because all I had to worry about was my training. But now that I'm turned pro, all that gets taken away, and I thought I was going to get signed right after Olympics, but I didn't. So, you have this plan, but it might not always go the way you want to, so you have to figure some things out, which I've been having to do. I've had to adjust, and it's been, not easy. So I've been, in between that training time, I have clients that I train. Okay. And I kind of, that's what I have to do to stay financially stable. So that's what I do in between that time, and then when I get home, I just try to rest as much as I can.
I'm going to do something and say something, and this is totally, you know me.
I know, I'm a little worried.
But I'm going to tell you, if you're out there and you would consider, I'm sure she would consider this, endorsing her, you get in touch with me. You can get in touch with Mr. S. We've got direct contact with her. So if you want to endorse her, if you want to sponsor her, get in touch with us. Let's help a girl out. I mean, hey, the fact is she's going to be a world champion. I'm telling you.
It's one of those things when you're a champion, everyone's going to want to hitch their wagon to you.
Of course.
Now's an opportunity to believe in you before that happens.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to give the people.
Yes.
Well, folks, I know boxing, and I know this girl, and she would be worth putting your sponsorship money into. And you can go to termitewatkins@yahoo.com and get in touch with me. That's termitewatkins@yahoo.com. I want to see her be able to train and not have to worry about anything.
Yeah, just
Wouldn't
message
that be
us
cool?
on our.
It would be nice. It would.
Yeah.
It would be a little easier. Yeah.
Message us on our LinkedIn or any one of our social media
That's
channels
right.
on In the Ring.
That's right.
So we'll definitely find a way to connect that.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank
We
you.
will.
And going back to
Appreciate that.
training, you're saying how hard, the training routine. I want to emphasize that this is like one of the hottest summers we've had in Houston.
It
Boxing
is.
gyms are not air conditioned.
Most
And
of
so
them.
you're training in some pretty severe heat.
Extreme heat.
Yes. So that's part of the training, having to deal with that heat, and so it's another kind of training. It's
Yeah.
People, and any other kind of sports. Yeah, if you're training outside, it's different. But if you're inside, usually gyms have air conditioning, and this is like you're training in a sauna every day.
Yeah.
So.
Every day.
So what is next?
So, I was just on a Matchroom card in New Orleans a month ago. They're throwing a card here.
Matchroom is a boxing promotion, and that's what that is. You can look it up, Matchroom Boxing.
And they just got in touch with me, 2 days ago. They're throwing another card here in Houston. So I get to fight in Houston, which I've been waiting to do. So that's going to be in September.
Where's
So-
that at?
So it's in the preliminary stages. So they don't have an arena
Okay.
and all that. They don't even have a main event yet. But I should know soon with all that. And if you want to find more information about that, you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter. My handle is Ginny Fuchs @GinnyFuchsUSA. And my name is Ginny, not Jenny.
We'll put all that
just
stuff
so
in,
you
the,
know,
in the
yeah.
comments too, but yes.
And so you can follow me, and I always keep people updated about, what's next and what's coming up and everything.
Now, one thing, about our show, it's obviously boxing themed. You're a boxer. But the other part about it is just the life challenges. And I know there's more that you've had to overcome. You mentioned some of the things that you've dealt with. So mention some of those, because people are looking at you now. She's successful. They start to get this, put you in a box of how you're different and why they can't do it. Talk about some of the other things that you had to overcome to where you are now.
Well, like I was telling you guys, I'm a big mental health advocate because I suffer from obsessive compulsive disorder, and I was diagnosed in 8th grade with that. But leading up to that diagnosis, I was suffering from anorexia all throughout middle school.
Wow.
To the point where it was getting dangerous and deadly that my parents put me into an inpatient treatment center in Arizona. And that's where they discovered, like, the underlying kind of cause of me becoming anorexic was my OCD. So then I was immediately, after that inpatient for my anorexia, I was put into an OCD inpatient facility in Kansas. And this is all in 8th grade. You know, when you're going through that teenage
Tough
years
Yeah.
and trying to find yourself a little bit. So, yeah, it was a hard time for me and my family. And then, you know, after that treatment center, then I got out right before high school started, because my parents wanted me to start high school and everything. So, you know, I've been dealing with this OCD thing since then, and I used to hide it from people. I used to feel ashamed. I used to feel not like other people, not like my friends, not normal. I kind of believed nothing was wrong with me, but, you know, my parents kept, you know, I was going through doctors and all this and having to take medication, and it was hard for me, like, to believe that I was struggling with something. I didn't want to believe it. I kind of just, like,
Pretend it doesn't exist.
Pretended that didn't
A lot
exist.
of people do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I dealt with it all throughout high school and in college. I did, and yeah, these friends that I met throughout the years noticed it, and I wouldn't really talk about it much. I would just be like, so my OCD is with, like, contamination fear, and I'd overwash stuff. I'd just be like, I'm a clean person. But then when I got onto the USA boxing team and I started traveling with the team and you're rooming with, you know, your teammates and everything, they saw more of it. So I couldn't hide it anymore because I wasn't alone. It was, you know, exposed. So I started becoming more open to my teammates, and the reaction I got from them was relieving. They were kind of like, okay, you know, they're like, wanted me to explain it more because I could tell they wanted to try to understand what my thought process. I was like, okay, this is, you know, not what I expected. I thought people were going to be like, you know, weird or judge me, you know, kind of thing. So that kind of made me decide to start talking about it more. And it actually my OCD got really worse between 2016 to 2019 when I went back into inpatient treatment. And this time it was my decision. I kind of just had a bad 3 days of, you know, getting stuck in my rituals and feeling like I couldn't get out or had control over it. And so I went and asked for help. And I was the one that was like, I need help. I think I want to go back into inpatient to get this thing under control because I don't want it to ruin my chances for the Olympics.
That's a huge
and so
step.
I accepted.
Yeah, that is huge.
I started to accept. I was like, okay, I struggle with this thing, but it's okay. And then I had the opportunity from Oprah Winfrey and Prince Harry to be on a documentary series on mental health. It's on Apple TV Plus, and there's, you know, like Lady Gaga's in it, Robin Williams' son is in it, Glenn Close is in it. So there's some high profile people in it. So I was kind of honored to be asked to do this, and, you know, I let them into my, you know, life where people don't see the, like, rituals I go through and the struggle I go through internally and that I deal with on my own. So it was cool to, like, have people see that side of me, that this thing, OCD, that I literally battle every day and I have to get through every day, but I don't let it hold me back, and I don't let it stop me from getting to the gym and succeeding, you know, my goal of becoming a world champ.
You don't let it define you.
I
You
don't let it
hold you
define
back.
me. I tell people, look, it's something I struggle with, and it's really hard. And yes, I have my bad days, weeks, months, but I still am able to, you know, keep my head up and know, like, you know, okay, I can get through it. And I have, you know, luckily I have boxing to keep me kind of moving forward because it's my passion. And I always remember, like, what's my values in life? What's my passion? You know, what do I want to succeed? And I always put that, you know, at the forefront of my head, and don't let the OCD stop me from continuing my passion. And so
You're an overcomer.
I'm an overcomer, yeah.
And also sharing it. It's one of those things where anytime we all have issues, sometimes we think we're the only ones.
Yeah.
We're embarrassed. We don't want to talk about it. Maybe no one will notice it, but like you said, you spoke out. You're surprised at the support.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's probably
Big
a few
support.
people that are not that way, but I think the majority of us want to support and help each other.
Yeah.
And then by you speaking out, you're helping, who knows, countless people that
Yeah.
would not even, you know, they're going to hide it. And then they hear you, you know, you see as a role model, like, oh, wow, she can do this. I can do
Well, I
this
think
too.
it makes them not feel alone. And
Right.
That's
It's that
I
loneliness.
think that's powerful in itself because, again, like I said, I thought I was the only one that was like this way,
Yeah.
and it made me just feel,
Well, you speaking out about it will give people courage, and I want to encourage you. Try getting a hold of somebody. Don't try to hold it all in. Tell somebody.
Yeah.
Tell somebody and talk to somebody because just talking helps it.
Well, that's the thing I was about to say. When I did start becoming open about it and talking about it, it was like this huge weight was lifted off of my chest. Like, okay, now I accepted myself more. Like I used to, I used to judge myself or put these negative words about myself in my head. But now I'm just, like I said, it's just something I struggle with. I'm not the only one, and I want people to know that they're not the only one.
Yeah. Well, that's powerful words, and I appreciate you telling people. Is there anything else you want to tell everybody out there? Any?
Well, I mean, with my experience with my internal struggle and everything I struggle with, and then being in the boxing world and having that, have that equality as the men do with pay and just recognition and getting promoted, so all those experiences I've had, don't let any little thing like deter you away from what you want to do. Keep pushing through it. It's not going to be easy, but then that makes it even more rewarding when it's not easy. So so just keep fighting.
Yep.
Keep fighting through it.
Keep getting up.
and as long as you keep pushing and fighting through it, you can get there.
Yeah.
I love it. I think that's a perfect kind of way to wrap it up.
I told you she'd be good.
Excellent.
She's incredible. Well, I've always thought the world of you. And I think I'm predicting you're going to be a world champion. And I can't wait because when you do, we want to have you back on here
Okay.
and talk about it again. I want to tell Mr. S, I told you so.
Yeah.
And
I'm not disagreeing with you.
no, he's not. So remember, if you're out there and you've got any kind of problems like this, talk to somebody. You've got churches you can go to. You've got hospitals, doctors. You've got individuals. Sometimes just go to somebody that cares for you and you care for them. Don't hold it in. Mr. S?
I think to wrap it up, we're going to do it like we always do our tagline. Life is tough.
She might be able to do that.
I think so. We're going to say, keep your guard up.
Keep your guard up.
Hey.
There you go.